Pauri 25.
बहुता कर्म लिखिया ना जाई, बड़ा दाता तिलन तमाई। केते मंगहि जोध अपार, केतिया गणत नहीं विचार। केते खपी टुटहि वेकार, केते लई लई मुकरु पाही। केते मूरख खाही खाही, केतिया दुख भुख सद मार। एही भी दाती तेरी दातार, बंदी खलासी पाणे होई। और आखी न सके कोई, जेको खायकू आखण पाई। ओह जाने जेतिया मुहि खाई, आपे जाने आपे देई। आखहि सी भी कई कई, जिसना बख्शे सिफती सालाह। नानक पातशाही पातशाह।
Explanation. There is no way to measure his splendid glory. His gifts and blessings are immense, and his abundant glories are not feasible to record. He is selfless. His benevolence has no iota of greed. He is the greatest selfless donor and does not expect any return from any creature after donating. No one is capable of returning his gifts or donations, since all are created by him and belong to him only. An individual is just a custodian to preserve his reserves and uses what he gives. Even if someone donates to him, he must understand that nothing belongs to an individual. He is donating back to Almighty what he has gifted. He is the owner and master of one and all. He gives without any desire of return by any form and means. He desires only divine love from his devotees, and Almighty knows that only love belongs personally to the devotees, and it is the highest offer which they can offer to Almighty in return to His benevolence. There are countless warriors, brave personalities of the world, and many valiant people who beg and look for various blessings from His divine door. Spiritual people only beg for divine grace, and they don't beg for material goods from Him. A devotee and spiritually uplifted only beg for God, His virtues, divine values, and nothing more from Him. The number of beggars is infinite in the universe and cannot be imagined, since almost all His creatures only beg for the worldly comforts, and they have a long list of begging. Hardly anyone really begs divine qualities to become like Him. There are many such beggars on His door, those after fulfilling their worldly desires from His grace, get themselves trapped in different earthly vices and finally completely ruin themselves. They are trapped in sensual pleasures beyond limitation and lose all worldly comforts and return back to square one, having nothing left in their disposal. They did not appreciate the value of the blessings of Almighty under the influence of vices. There are many such people who are never obliged by the various comforts allocated by the Almighty to them. They enjoy all the gifts given by God and never even think to thank Him for all such priceless blessings gifted by Him, which He is enjoying every moment. Some don't acknowledge after receiving His blessings and grace. They negate what they receive. They just forget Him after their desires are fulfilled. There are many fools who are obsessed with greed and go on eating and enjoying all comforts but never acknowledge the presence of Almighty, the universal donor of every comfort to them. There is another class of creation in this universe who always suffer because of hunger and various other physical and mental pains, but they consider all such sufferings as per the will of Almighty, and reactions of their past evil actions. Many such people who are afflicted with pain, they consider this entire as divine plan, and they accept all such suffering with joy, considering them as the blessings of Almighty. They perceive that these sufferings are from the highest source of Almighty, to make them understand to live as per His wish, as per the law of cause and effect, action and reaction. They are blessed with divine wisdom, which makes them understand that these sufferings are to develop dissipation in their heart so that they get further attached with the name and japa of Almighty and merge in Him, the timeless identity. They always consider that the Almighty is honoring them with His divine grace. They know fully well that gold can only be purified when it passes through fire. Vices can only be shed or washed when the devotees bear or take the pain of worldly sufferings with joy. This is the divine law. His affectionate devotees admit that liberation from bondage of repeated series of birth and death is only by the wish, gift and blessings of Almighty. So they believe to live under the shelter of His wish. They completely surrender to His wish. They take joy, happiness and sufferings identically in the same pattern as the gift from Almighty without any complaint and inhibition of any kind to Him. Nobody on earth can suggest any other alternative means to live for liberation from bondage of births and death except to follow the wish of Divinity, the Almighty. Only fools out of total ignorance suggest alternative means for liberation, and they don't know that only disgrace will come on their way in their lifespan. There is no other ladder to climb except that of blessing of Almighty, His grace, and to live as per His command, completely surrendering to Him by thoughts, words and deeds. Except devotion, love and mergence in His glory, other paths lead to darkness of hell and not to the doorstep of liberation. Only sufferers will know the consequences of following the alternative path that goes against the laws of divinity. The Almighty knows the needs of devotees, and He satisfies their needs. A very few uplifted devotees experience this divine grace of cosmic power, which is omniscient. Self-realized devotees very clearly conceive that intuition is developed by His grace as if He or Almighty has occupied the seat in their heart and operates by His own will. The Almighty is infinite. He is beyond of beyond. Almighty Himself by His own grace enlightens the devotee to magnify His glories, to sing and immerse in His glories of absolute silence. Guru Nanak Ji says that Almighty, the supernal graces His devotee Himself and uplift him to the level of Emperor of Emperors, that is to the level equivalent to Himself. Surely, His divine grace bestows the devotees to the level of the King of Kings. The inner meaning of this pauri clearly depicts that after the enlightenment on achieving the self-realization, the blessing endowed on the devotee is immense. He becomes selfless, the biggest donor, the liberated, Jivan Mukta, and the King of Kings in his life. On the contrary, if one is trapped in vices, he becomes selfish, foolish and suffers throughout his life and gets trapped in the cycles of rebirths. Indeed, one must follow the path of divinity to uplift him by achieving silence on passing through the thoughtless state by the grace of Almighty.